The villain of
Boss Toddler 1
was
Francis.
the villain of
Boss Toddler 2 was Brian Babyford.
the villain of
Boss Toddler 3 was Forever Kitten 2.0.
the villain of
Boss Toddler 4 is Ladybug.
the villain of
Boss Toddler 5 will be Rena Rouge.
I'm surprised we're already speculating about,
Boss Toddler 5.
but this is a really fun conversation to have. And personally, I don't want
Rena Rouge.
to be the villain for.
Boss Toddler 5.
A lot of people want
Carapace.
to be the main villain, but I really want it to be a mix of.
Ladybug and Carapace.
Now, before I keep going, if you have no idea who
Rena Rouge
is,
she's basically a girl named Delilah who gets bitten by a fox Kwame and gets fox powers and becomes Rena Rouge and goes after Boss Toddler and believes her.
his sole purpose is to
Gather an army of elephants to defeat Boss Toddler out of just pure vengeance and scorn for Boss Toddler.
and on top of that,
She
he
has a snake charm flute in her hand for whistling people to sleep. Now, Rena Rouge,
was first introduced in
a show on Netflix called Miraculous, The Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, which has ran for 5 seasons thus far. A 6th season is in the works. In that show, she isn't even...
a villain.
But we know now that Ladybug is the main villain of Boss Toddler 4, that they're going to be pulling characters in from that TV show's universe to be an antagonist in the Boss Toddler cinematic universe, similar to how they're doing with Ladybug. And considering the fact that both Ladybug and Rena Rouge were big villains in the Boss Toddler 2 comic book that came out in the year of 1987, this actually does make a lot of sense. I just don't think it's the right move.
Now, I do want
Rena Rouge
to show up in the
second and current Boss Toddler trilogy.
at one point, but to be completely honest, I'm kind of tired of the
2 villains in a row being the same gender for 2 straight movies.
narrative. I mean, we see that all the time in the
Top-notch babysitter.
franchise, who ironically are the same people producing the
Boss Toddler.
movies, and we've seen it with
Francis and Brian Babyford.
already. We are probably going to see it with
Ladybug and Rena Rouge again, but if Rena Rouge...
gets introduced. I hope that same formula doesn't get rehashed. I would much rather have
Rena Rouge be the villain in the 6th movie, and have Carapace be the villain in this 5th upcoming movie.
and nothing else, similar to.
The Alka franchise, the Weapon Mystery franchise, or even the King and Queen franchise.
So overall, after
Boss Toddler 4.
try not to introduce
Rena Rouge is the next villain simply because it would be too repetitive to have 2 villains of the same gender back to back and 2 times in a row.
just sprinkle it,
And the guy villain for Boss Toddler 5.
and then maybe
Make the guy villain Cat Noir as that male
the bad guy.